Quick question. When was the last time you were completely alone? No phone, no TV, no distractions, for more than an hour? Can't remember? Yeah, most people can't. And that's not an accident. Because here's something wild. Your brain is literally addicted to avoiding yourself. And the companies making billions off your attention, they're counting on it. But there's a small group of people who figured out the cheat code. They've learned to weaponize solitude. And while everyone else is drowning in noise, these people are getting stronger, sharper, and more successful in complete silence. So what do they know that you don't? Well, that's exactly what we're about to uncover. And I'm warning you right now, once you see this, you can't unsee it. Number 1, you're forced to face yourself, and that's terrifying. When you're alone, there's no Netflix to numb you, no friends to distract you, no Instagram feed to scroll through until your brain turns into mashed potatoes. It's just you and your thoughts. And for most people, that's a horror movie. Because here's the thing, your mind will drag up everything you've been avoiding. That embarrassing thing you said in 2014, it's back. That goal you gave up on, front and center. That version of yourself you promised you'd become but never did, yeah, she's here too, and she's judging you. Weak people run from this. They fill every second with noise because silence exposes the uncomfortable truth. They don't actually like who they are. But strong people, they sit in that discomfort. They stare down their flaws, their regrets, their fears, and they don't blink. This is where self-awareness is born. Not in a crowded room where everyone's pretending to have it together, but in the quiet, brutal honesty of solitude. And once you master that, you become unstoppable. Because if you can face yourself, you can face anything. Number 2, being alone builds real independence. Let's be honest, most people are emotional leeches. They need constant validation, endless reassurance, and a 24/7 hype squad just to function. They can't make a decision without pulling 10 people. They can't feel good about themselves unless someone else tells them they're amazing. They're like those plants that die if you forget to water them for 2 days. But solitude? Solitude turns you into a cactus. Self-sufficient, resilient, thriving, even when nobody's paying attention. When you're alone, you learn to push yourself without a cheerleader. You set goals and chase them without someone holding your hand. You solve problems without crying for help every 5 minutes. You stop waiting for permission, approval, or applause, and you just do the thing. And here's the kicker. True independence is rare. Most people are so addicted to external validation that they've outsourced their entire sense of self-worth. They're like NPCs in a video game, just waiting for someone else to give them a quest. But when you embrace solitude, you become the main character. You write your own story. You don't need the crowd to tell you which direction to go because you already know. And that's power. Number 3, you grow stronger in silence. The world is loud, like aggressively loud. Everyone's shouting their opinions, posting their highlight reels, demanding your attention 24/7. And most people drown in that noise because it keeps them distracted, shallow, and comfortable. But solitude strips all that away. It's just you and the raw, unfiltered version of reality. No filters, no edits, no escape. And in that silence, something magical happens. You start to grow. You learn patience because there's no one to entertain you. You build resilience because there's no one to save you. You develop focus because there's nothing to distract you from what actually matters. See, growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from challenge. And being alone is one of the hardest challenges there is. It forces you to carry yourself even when nobody's watching. It teaches you to be your own source of strength, motivation, and discipline. That's why the greatest athletes train alone. The best artists create alone. The most successful entrepreneurs grind alone. Because they understand something most people don't. Solitude isn't isolation. It's preparation. It's where you sharpen your skills, refine your vision, and build the mental toughness that separates legends from losers. So yeah, being alone is hard, but that's exactly why it makes you stronger. The question isn't if you can handle it. The question is, Are you brave enough to try? Let's continue with the next number. Number 4, you learn to control your emotions. When you're always surrounded by people, it's easy to hide. You can mask your sadness with a smile, drown your anxiety in small talk, distract yourself from your anger by blaming someone else. But when you're alone, your emotions hit different. There's no crowd to hide behind, no one to perform for, just you and whatever storm is brewing inside your head. And weak people hate this. They'll do anything to avoid feeling their feelings. They'll drink, scroll, shop, binge eat, hook up with their ex, anything to numb the pain. But strong people, they face it head on. They sit with their sadness. They interrogate their anger. They dissect their anxiety until they understand where it's coming from. And here's what happens when you do that. You stop being controlled by your emotions. You stop reacting impulsively. You stop letting your feelings dictate your decisions. Instead, you become the master of your inner world. You learn to process pain without falling apart. You develop emotional resilience that no amount of therapy, self-help books, or motivational quotes can give you. Because emotional strength isn't built in a support group. It's forged in the lonely, uncomfortable moments when you have no choice but to face yourself. And once you master that, you become unshakable. Number 5, you discover who you actually are. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. Most people are fake. Not in a malicious way, just in a survival way. They change their personality depending on who they're around. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny. They agree with opinions they don't believe. They mold themselves into whatever shape gets them accepted. And honestly, that's exhausting. But here's the thing. When you're alone, the mask falls off. There's no audience to perform for, no one to impress.
No social pressure to be someone you're not. And in that raw, unfiltered space, you discover your true identity, what you actually believe, what you genuinely want, what you deeply value. Weak people fear this because they've spent so long pretending that they don't even know who they are anymore. The idea of meeting their authentic self is terrifying. But strong people, they embrace it, even if the truth is uncomfortable, even if it means realizing they've been living a lie, even if it forces them to make hard changes. Because here's the reality. You can't build a meaningful life on a foundation of lies. You can't achieve real success by being someone you're not. And you definitely can't find genuine happiness by constantly performing for others. Your true self, the one that emerges in solitude, is the only version of you worth investing in. So stop running from it. Start embracing it. Number 6, you sharpen your focus like a laser. Ever notice how your best ideas come when you're alone? In the shower, on a walk, right before you fall asleep. That's not a coincidence, because when you're constantly surrounded by noise, other people's opinions, social media chaos, endless notifications, your brain is in reactive mode. You're just responding to stimuli. You're not actually thinking. But solitude gives you clarity. There are no distractions, no interruptions, no voices drowning out your own thoughts. This is why the strongest ideas, the deepest plans, and the clearest visions come in solitude. Strong people understand this. They carve out time to be alone because they know that's where the magic happens. They see further because there's no crowd blocking their view. They plan deeper because there's no noise disrupting their concentration. They act with precision because they've had time to think things through. Meanwhile, weak people are stuck in the chaos. They're so busy reacting to everyone else that they never develop their own vision. They're so addicted to constant stimulation that they can't focus long enough to create anything meaningful.
And here's the brutal truth. The world doesn't reward distraction. It rewards focus. The greatest thinkers spent time alone. Einstein, Tesla, Newton, Da Vinci. they didn't discover groundbreaking ideas in crowded rooms. They found them in solitude. So if you want to level up, if you want to create something that actually matters, you need to embrace being alone, because that's where focus lives. And focus is everything. Number 7, you prove you don't need anyone to survive. Here's the ultimate test of strength. Can you be happy alone? Not just okay, not just surviving, but genuinely content, fulfilled, and at peace with yourself. Most people can't. They need constant companionship, validation, and entertainment just to feel normal. Take that away, and they crumble. But strong people, they thrive in solitude, not because they hate people, but because they don't need people to feel whole. They've built a life they're proud of. They've developed interests that excite them. They've cultivated inner peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. And that's the ultimate flex, because when you're genuinely okay being alone, you stop settling. You stop clinging to toxic relationships. You stop compromising your values just to fit in. You become selective, intentional, powerful, because you're not operating from a place of need. You're operating from a place of choice. And that's what separates the weak from the strong. So there you have it. 7 reasons why being alone is not for the weak. It's for the strong. If you can face yourself, build independence, grow in silence, master your emotions, discover your true identity, sharpen your focus, and prove you don't need anyone to survive, you're not weak. You're a force of nature. So stop running from solitude. Start embracing it, because the strongest version of you is waiting on the other side.